Prior to being selected 9th overall by the San Antonio Spurs in the 2022 NBA Draft, most analysts pegged Jeremy Sochan as some sort of a Draymond Green or Ben Simmons type of player. Basically, a prototypical versatile athlete who can guard just about anyone on the floor, who can also create plays for teammates, but who still lacks the ability to shoot the ball consistently in the half court. Well, on the defensive end, Sochan appears to be just as good as advertised. Standing 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan, Sochan can effectively switch 1-5 and guard the opposing team's best player while doing a good job out of it. So far, the top 5 players he's defended as a rookie in terms of matchup minutes are LeBron James, Jeremy Grant, Jaren Jackson Jr., Karl Anthony Towns, and Damian Lillard. And the thing is, those guys have basically struggled to score with Sochan guarding them, with none of those players even shooting more than 43% from the field when defended by the Spurs rookie. Again, the tremendous defensive impact he brings was kinda expected, but what's actually been most surprising is that for a guy who wasn't even a number 1 or number 2 scoring option in college, Sochan has been scoring quite well at the NBA level at the same time. But most importantly, after playing 45 games, his scoring numbers show some incremental offensive growth with each passing month of the season. After averaging only 8 points per game in November of last year, he's been up to more than 12 points per game for the month of January 2023. Plus, the good thing is that the numbers as of late also suggest that his scoring improvements are no fluke either. Over his last 8 games, Sochan has been averaging a solid 15.8 points per game, and after being criticized for his poor outside shooting and free throw percentages, he's also been shooting 50.5% from deep and 84% from the free throw line within that same 8-game span. Overall, I think it's safe to say that Jeremy Sochan's offensive breakout has definitely come earlier as expected, so in this video, we'll break down the layers of his developing offense and why Jeremy Sochan is on his way to becoming a scary two-way threat for the San Antonio Spurs. But one sec, if you guys happen to enjoy this video, please do me a favor by hitting that like button. It only takes a second of your time, but it would be much appreciated. So let's get to it. First and foremost, we have to talk about Jeremy Sochan's incredible mid-season improvements with his free throw and three-point shooting numbers. As everyone already knows, the whole NBA was rocked by Sochan's sudden shift to a one-handed free throw routine beginning in December 19, which was basically intended to help him focus on keeping his shooting elbow tight while also keeping the ball rotating in the right position without having to be distracted by his supporting left hand when he's shooting his free throws. And as it appears, this change has been working wonders for him in a huge way. As before the shift to one-handed free throws, Sochan was only making 46% of his free throw attempts, but since the change in form has been up to almost 77%. But the improvements don't stop there. Although Sochan still obviously shoots his jumpers with 2 hands, it seems like the muscle memory from his modified free throw shooting form has also impacted his perimeter game. As before making the change in form, he was only shooting a very poor 17% from behind the arc, but since making the change, he's been shooting a decent 35.3% from deep. I think this is actually mind-blowing in a way that such kind of a jump in shooting percentages from Sochan wouldn't really have been surprising if it happened over one off-season. But the fact that he's taking this dramatic leap in efficiency right in the middle of his rookie year is actually very eye-opening. But for sure, there's more to Sochan's offense than just free throws and three-point shots. And what actually struck me as the biggest offensive surprise from Sochan aside from his perimeter shooting is his ability to recognize and attack open spaces with or without the basketball. First, when he's off the ball, Sochan makes timely cuts to open spots while utilizing his foot speed to get near the basket. If you throw him a lob pass or find him around the dunker spot, he's surely gonna be able to use his size and athleticism to catch the ball and finish at the rim. Plus, Sochan's also a threat on the offensive boards as he's capable of soaring for huge putback dunks with regularity. Overall, almost 61% of his field goals this season have come within 5 feet of the basket, and he's been converting a solid 57.3% of all his shot attempts within that 5 feet range. Here, Keldon Johnson finds Zach Collins in the high post, then you can see Sochan being watched by Luka Doncic in the corners, but when he briefly catches Doncic not looking, Sochan just quickly goes for the backdoor cut to the baseline as he catches the bounce pass and finishes the easy dunk. Then in this play, Keldon Johnson finds Trey Jones in the corner. Jones spins and penetrates, but he finds Sochan on the weak side ready to cut. So he dishes the ball out and you can see Sochan with a catch, the one dribble, and the explosive finish right at the basket. But Sochan doesn't need to be set up all the time either, cause when he's on the perimeter, for a guy with a 6'9" frame, he actually has the rare ability to put the ball on the floor, get to the rim, and finish smoothly with either hand. He's able to set defenders up with some crossovers in the perimeter before he gets to his spin moves and Euro steps when he's closer to the basket. In fact, 39% of Sochan's total field goals within 5 feet of the basket have actually been self-created. Here, you can see Sochan coming out of the corners to get the pass. He sets up his defender with a quick jab step, then he drives to the right before quickly spinning to the left and finishing the semi-hook shot against the tough defense. Then here in semi-transition, Richardson sets up Sochan on the wing. You see Sochan quickly attacking his defender, then he goes for the wide Euro step to the left before finishing the end one even against contact. Then finally here, you can see Sochan on his back defended by De'Aaron Fox. Watch how he outmaneuvers Fox with a spin move, and with a lot of driving space, he takes off from around 10 feet as he finishes the poster dunk against Domantas Sabonis. The good thing is, Sochan's aggressive nature as a downhill attacker is starting to become amplified even more by his ability to make pull-up jumpers from the mid-range, which he's been using as counters when defenses don't really give him a driving lane to attack the basket. As of late, the shooting touch has been there for Sochan, as again, since switching to one-handed free throws, he's been shooting a solid 45% from the short mid-range area, ranking in the 60th percentile among all forwards in the NBA. Plus, almost 48% of those short mid-range field goals he's made have also been self-created, which shows just how comfortable Sochan has been in terms of pulling up into a shot as defenders sag off him in the perimeter. Just like here, you see Sochan running into the corner as he's defended by Zion Williamson. He starts backing Zion down with a slight post-up, but once he gets near the paint, Sochan pivots as he sets up the nice one-legged 12-foot jumper. Then here, you see Sochan sizing up Kevin Huerter in the perimeter. He starts with another slight post-up, then he goes for the drop step and the quick pivot before rising up for the 10-foot floater, even with a hand on his face. As you can see, there's already a scoring foundation that's present here for Jeremy Sochan, but for sure, the real reason that he was pegged as a potential long-term offensive engine even prior to entering the NBA was his playmaking ability. Sochan always had advanced court vision and a great understanding of passing angles. Combine that with his length and creativity, and you could see why he's starting to be utilized more by Coach Pop as a facilitator for the team. Well, sure, on the half court, a lot of his assists come from simple dribble handoffs, but there are also a lot of advanced drive-and kicks and some eye-popping reads in the pick and roll. Just like here, as he's coming out of the side screen play and with some ghost pick and roll action going on, Sochan's already reading the weak side and he knows exactly when to dish out the bounce pass to the cutting Devin Vassell, who finishes right at the basket. Then here, watch how Sochan runs a side pick and roll play with Charles Bassey. In the split second that the defense hedges out on him, he's already able to dish out the perfectly timed one-handed pass to his roll man in the interior. Then in this play, Sochan brings the ball down court and sets up what looks like a pick and roll with Jakob Poeltl, but with the Bulls defense collapsing in the paint, he makes the right read and kicks it out instead to Keldon Johnson for the corner three-point shot. Well, for sure, not a lot of people expected Sochan to display this kind of dynamic offensive game as a rookie, let alone for him to already be able to score 30 points in a game at the midway point of the season. But just a few games ago against the Phoenix Suns, Sochan just recorded a career-high 30 points while shooting 3 out of 6 from the three-point line, while also recording 8 rebounds and 5 assists. It might not be the wildest stat line for a rookie, but it still was actually historical for a teenager, as at 19 years old, Sochan just became the 5th teenager in NBA history alongside LeBron, KD, Luka Doncic, and Zion Williamson to record at least 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists in a single game. Well, for sure, this isn't to say that Sochan is already a finished product, especially on the offensive end. Ideally, his shot making would still get better to the point that defenses are totally forced to close out hard on him in the perimeter or even send double teams on him early in possessions. However, I think we're already at a point wherein the offensive improvements that Jeremy Sochan's made are far too good to be ignored. It seems like the Spurs have just once again found another uniquely talented and special two-way player in the first round of the NBA draft. So thank you so much guys if you made it this far into the video, and let me ask you, what do you think is a realistic ceiling for Jeremy Sochan? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below, and again, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing as well. Again, this is Real Balls, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.